So my friend Kirsty and I were in Africa. We decided to go for a month to volunteer because we weren't planning on doing gap years. We wanted to do a month away, just doing something different, new experience before university. So we were there teaching kids in a Christian school, maybe for about 3.5, 4 weeks, when on the last weekend, two guys on a moped just drove past us and threw acid on us from the right-hand side.
Just randomly?
Completely random. It was the last day of Ramadan, so maybe it was like significant in some way, but I think they wanted to target girls because there was a couple behind us, but quite far behind us, but a man and a woman together. So maybe they thought we were more vulnerable or something, but I definitely think it was like two girls who they wanted to attack. I was screaming from the bathroom and I had to like take all my clothes off that I was wearing because it was like burning me more, like having the fabric.
So it burnt right away, you felt it immediately?
Oh, immediately. It was kind of completely instant. And so I was screaming from the bathroom, and then a couple called Nadine and Sam heard me screaming and came with bottled water, and the shower was running. It was a proper like swimming pool bathroom.
We were talking earlier, Katie, I don't know if you heard, but we were talking about the concept of saying sorry and apologising, and for someone who's done a terrible thing to actually apologise to whether it's their victim or their family. Would you ever like to have some kind of apology? Would that draw a line for you, or have you already personally drawn that line?
I feel like because it was in another country, it's easier for me to completely separate myself from the situation. But of course, an apology would be nice. I just never think it's going to happen, and I'm not going to make myself believe it will happen.
Sure.
So I kind of just took myself away from it.
Tell me psychologically how you've been coping. Have you had any nightmares about this, any flashbacks?
Yeah, so for the first maybe 6 months or so, I was quite fine, which is quite strange. And then I came back from hospital and all my friends went to university. And that's kind of when I was like really sad and lonely and isolated. And then maybe about 1.5 years, I started getting bad anxiety and panic attacks. It all came quite slowly for me. Sure. I don't know, everyone deals with it differently. And then I had CBT, which kind of helped to help manage it slightly. Yeah, a few different things.
How are you physically? Because obviously for people listening at home, they can't see what you look like. The acid clearly hit one half of your face.
Yeah.
Your throat, your arms. You are scarred.
Yeah.
How does that affect you on a day-to-day basis? Because obviously the attack itself happened years ago, but on a daily basis, this is something you still live with.
Yeah. So for the first maybe 1.5 to 2 years, I covered myself so much. I didn't sit on a beach for maybe about 4 years. Every time I would go out, especially in the first year, I would have scarves and hats and sunglasses, and I hated having like eye contact with people. And I would hide. I remember in May, I was at a friend's house and I was wearing a scarf, and she was like, "Why are you wearing a scarf? It's May." And I was like, I don't know. It's just one of those things that you don't really want to explain, but it just takes time.
Of course.
It gets exhausting, like having to cover yourself up all the time, and also it's not worth it if someone's going to look at me in another way or judge me or whatever. I don't care anymore because it's so mentally draining for me, and it's so much hard work. Whenever I would shop, I would only look at things with long sleeves, and I just can't do that anymore. It's so restricting.
How is your relationship with the mirror changed? Do you avoid it? Do you look in it? Are you more comfortable now?
Yeah. So in the burns unit in Chelsea and Westminster where I was, they don't allow any mirrors. But I would always look at myself on my phone on that mode, and would always look in like the shower in the little metal thing where you can kind of see a reflection. It helped me see myself rather than come home and have mirrors everywhere and then be even more distraught and shocked. I thought for me, I wanted to like see myself and see the progression. So I would always like stare at myself for hours, especially when I had like nothing to do at home in the first year. I would just like sit there and like look at myself and be like, okay, I want to work on this, need to massage this. So for me, it kind of helped me look in the mirror and like get used to what I was seeing rather than hide away from the mirror.
And you mentioned Katie Piper, the fact that you'd never really heard of anybody before who'd been through something like this, and you watched a documentary. Katie's doing a one-woman show at the moment where she's going around the country, and she recently she read a poem that she'd written to her body, saying goodbye to her old body, and sort of coming to terms with this new her, if you like. Is that something that resonates with you?
Yeah, it does, definitely. I mean, it is completely different, but I'll never look how I did before. So I feel like it's just a coming to terms with and accepting yourself. And it's just exhausting to keep hating yourself, and it's not worth my time or my energy. It's just what's happened.
I love that. It is, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
There's something about, I've done. I've worked with, actually, my PhD looked a lot around disfigurement and what happens. And I can tell you something, that the people that do the best in anything in life are the people that are adaptable. And you sound so bloody strong and adaptable. It's sort of, I think you're right. It's a new reality. But I also feel, having worked in this industry, and I really mean it, you can still see you. And do you feel that? Do you know what I mean? This idea that you're there, how does that feel? That identity of who Katie Gee is.
I still feel like the same person. I don't feel like my personality's changed so much. I remember in the first 2 years, I would ask all my friends, I would be like, do you think I'm different now? Like, do you think my personality's changed? And they were like, no, you're kind of the same. I think it's like ebb and flows. You have to come to terms with what's happened, and you just get used to it, I guess. And it's not worth my energy, like, worrying about it all the
Absolutely.
time.
How does it affect relationships? Have you dated since?
I have, here and there, nothing serious. And when people ask me this, it's kind of like, I don't know what would have happened otherwise. But here and there, like, nothing serious. I've heard stories about people who've been in similar situations, who have been dating, and then the guys have, like, stood them up or, like, left halfway through the date. That hasn't happened to me, thankfully. But I think I probably don't put myself out there as much as I used to, but
how about in terms of your goals, what you want out of life? Has it changed the way that you look at your future, what you'd like to do?
I think it's made me want to work harder. So before I went, I didn't really care about going to uni. I just wanted to go because I didn't know what else to do with my life. But now I have a job, and I start in September, and I'm doing a master's, and I did uni. And
what are you doing your master's in?
In real estate investment.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so now I just know I need to, like, grasp onto everything and work really hard and do everything I wanted to do.
Can I quickly ask you, your friend who, when this life-changing split-second moment happened, you had your two totally separate reactions to it, has she had the same mindset as you, or have you both coped differently since then?
So I think kind of similar. So when we got back to London, Kirsty was thankfully quite okay. She went back home like the day after we got back. So I feel with her, it was more about the guilt, and
because she wasn't as badly burnt as you.
Yeah. So it was more about the guilt and, like, knowing how to deal with a friend who could have been her, but it wasn't her, and our friendship and all that type of thing. And also we're family friends. Our mums went to school together. So it was just like getting through it as a team more so.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's hard because she started university that September and I couldn't go. So it was hard, but we are still fine.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's so good to hear, isn't it? It's wonderful.
It is. And there's something about, I think everyone finds acid attacks so frightening because so many of them feel very random like this, don't they? Yet the ramifications are so, and it's, in terms of how you adapt to them, it's everything. It's the psychology, it's the body image, it's the physical part. Are you, in terms of the treatment for it, are you still getting treatment for it?
Yeah, I had surgery last week actually, on my ear. So my ear is made out of my rib cartilage because my whole ear was burnt off and removed. And so they built it from my ear and a blood thing in my head. And so I actually got it pierced, but I had to go under to get it pierced because it's made out of proper cartilage from my rib.
Wow.
So now I can wear an earring for the first time in 5
brilliant.
years.
It looks
This is a stitch. This is a stitch.
Oh,
I have
that's
to wait.
a really cool earring, I swear. It's like this, people get it looks black and it has a thing. That's very
Yeah, I have to wait 6 weeks to put an earring in, but at the moment it's just a nice little
You're working
stitch.
it.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Yeah. So there are a few coming up, but compared to what I've had, they're like slowly getting less and less, and I have to get everything in now before I start working, obviously.
And do you direct that? Because I guess there comes a point where you can say, I've had enough or I want more.
Yeah.
Where are you at with that?
So my surgeon always said, we'll stop whenever you want to stop. It's completely up to you. But I don't know. I kind of want to do everything I can do to make myself like the best version of myself. But I can stop whenever I want. It's completely up to me. And now most of it's cosmetic anyway, so it's not so much skin grafts and rebuilding myself. It's more so physical and how I look.
Mm-hmm. In terms of, it's really interesting that you talk about you've gone to university, doing a master's, and you very much have a career in mind. Did it ever cross your mind to take the experience that you've had and make that your career? Because it's a route that many people have gone down, that it's been such a life-changing moment that they're now defined by how they look on the outside because of what's happened. You clearly haven't done that. You've had this blip, this horrific blip, but now you're on course and charging ahead.
Initially, we were going to do a documentary, and we were offered like interviews and things. For the first year and a half, we went quite far in the process of doing a documentary, actually. We had quite a few meetings for it. But in the end, for me, I just wasn't in the right mindset. And like the media attention was like the last thing I wanted. I just wanted to like focus on myself, and I didn't want that to be my worry. And I remember we were sitting with this production company, and they said to me, if you're having a really bad day and if you're crying in the corner and you're really sad and you're just distraught, we're still going to film you, just so you know. Yeah, exactly. Call me.
Yeah.
And then from then I was like, I can't really do that to myself, like for the sake of entertainment is essentially what it is. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So
You are such a smart
You are
girl.
a brilliant girl. Do you know what?
My cousin works in documentaries, so I know these things.
But do you know what? There is something about kind of this idea of living our pain out loud. And I think maybe there's a place for it. So, you know,
I agree.
For some people, but I also think I think there's a place for it. No, it needs to be up to you. This is yours.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing with any other illness. If I'm walking around and I have some internal condition, no one's going to come up and say, hey, what's that? As soon as people can see that, it becomes everybody's thing. And I think that's what the tiring thing is, that because people want to ask, they want to look. So I think whatever gives you that semblance of, you know what, this is mine. And F you if I don't want to speak about it, or I don't. And there'll be times when you do, and there'll be times when you won't, but it needs to be on your terms, Katie. And I think it's amazing to hear you say that, and to kind of, I think your instinct is spot on.
But saying that, now I'm in a better frame of mind. I might as well use my experience to help other people, more so for entertainment, but it does help people somewhere.
Well, like today, coming on and talking so wonderfully today, you don't know the difference you might have made to someone who's listening right now.
So now I've kind of like changed my mind slightly, and now I'll do every opportunity I can get before I start work.
But
I might as well.
Ready, though. It's on your terms. I think that's the key. Can I ask you, because we speak about this all the time, this idea of, we live in such a world where perfection is sort of plastered everywhere, and I have girls and boys that sit across from me that literally won't leave the house because of the tiniest thing. Now for them it's huge. Can you tell me, Katie, can you tell them what are the things that allow you to have a good body image, that allow you to say, do you know what, this is me, I like me enough? What do you say to yourself?
I think it's hard. I feel like there's not one thing. It just takes time, and I think it's about not comparing. It's so cliche, but not comparing yourself to other people and working at yourself to just be like the best version of yourself. I don't think there's like one thing that can change someone's mindset. I feel like it just takes time, and you have to mature through the situation, and it's not worth putting yourself down over. But Instagram and social media makes it a lot harder, and I wrote my whole dissertation about like the media and that kind of thing. But yeah, it is hard, but I think time.
Yeah.
Do you look at Instagram and that sort of thing?
Yeah, all the time. I can't not.
You couldn't do a Simon Cowell, put your phone down.
No, I do like Instagram.
And I guess, sorry, go ahead.
What sort of things do you look at? I mean, a lot of girls your age will be looking at whether it's fashion and pouty selfies and all this sort of stuff, that for a woman my age, I'm like, for the love of God, nobody really looks like that. But what sort of things do you look at?
Well, all my friends are on it, so I didn't take photos of everything. If we're out, we'll take photos to see what everyone's up to. It's kind of like Facebook,
so
I guess.
It's a friend thing.
Yeah, like social. Also, you see these, I think it's inevitable. You're always going to see like bloggers and, I don't know, gym people.
Sure.
And you see that, but you also, I don't know, keep in mind that it's not everyone, and you don't have to look like that, and they probably don't even look like that in real life.
Look like that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
There's some refreshingly honest people that are starting to come out on Instagram
I've
now,
seen.
which I really like and really admire. They'll do their own before and afters, just not necessarily even to do with airbrushing, which I know is a big thing at the moment, but also filters and that sort of thing, just to do with light. And I think
the way you stand.
We're starting to see a turn now.
Yeah.
I
agree.
The anti-selfie is going to be the new thing, where we kind of take pictures. Now we've been speaking about images and appearance. Love Island begins
Yeah.
All right. Now you have a friend going on. So Eyal, he's going to be on Love Island. I think it starts tomorrow night. It's on ITV at 9 p.m. Tell me a bit about so how do you know Eyal, and tell me a bit about what you think of the whole Love Island thing. Do you watch it? Do you love it? Do you hate it?
I'm so excited for Love Island. My friend's hosting a whole dinner and then we're going to sit down and watch it. So I'm so excited. And last year we had a finale party and we all dressed up as people from it. So I'm excited.
That must have meant just bikinis and thongs and things. They don't wear very much.
Lots of fake tan.
Some went all out and did like the funny shirts or like the hairstyles, like the sunglasses. It's funny.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's quite funny. But yeah, we love it.
Do you think, though, I guess on a more serious note, do you think that it kind of contaminates the way that young people view relationships? Because I think in women our age, we were speaking about this, but back in the day, it kind of felt that it was different. Whereas now, I feel the worry that I have with your generation is that you have an overwhelming amount of choice. And the reaction to too much choice is, I don't know, I think I probably made the wrong decision. That's always going to be the reaction. And all of these shows kind of perpetuate that, I think. But maybe I'm just, we're talking from our perspective. What do you think about these shows?
I think as long as you're aware of the fact it's an entertainment program, and I don't know, if you just watch it lightheartedly, like it is obviously different to however many years ago, but it's just a bit of fun and it's entertainment, and I don't know, it's just
that's
fun.
actually really refreshing to hear it through, the mouth of someone who's exactly the age group that it's aimed at, that you can see it for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a TV show.
That it's not real.
Yeah, but loads of people think how I think.
But that's great to know, because again, as a mum of teens, I'm looking at it thinking, oh, please don't be fooled. Don't think this is
they
real
won't
life.
be. Yeah.
I think it depends on the teen, though. I think the more impressionable you are, because look, people say these things don't matter. Advertising is a multi-billion-pound business. Why? Because we are, we are affected by these things subliminally. And I think the younger you are, I always kind of think of it as sort of sunscreen. You never put your kid outside without sunscreen on. So I think, with these shows and stuff, it's like intellectual sunscreen. It's like, why do you think they're on it? What do you think they're? It's like when they flog stuff. It's like, do you really think that these gummy bears fix people's hair?
I know.
I mean, maybe it'd be great if you could eat some gummy bears.
I know.
Perhaps they do, but maybe let's just be a bit more critical. We actually have Montana Brown on in the next hour. Did you watch her series?
I did. I didn't actually watch the first two, but I watched Montana last year.
Okay.
And loved it.
And what do you think AL will be like? Do you think he could win?
Maybe, I hope so. I mean, I don't know. I hope so. I mean, he's genuinely the nicest boy, so I don't know. We'll see. Hope so.
Really? How do you guys know each other? Same.
Went to school together.
It's a small world, right?
It is. Was he always in the gym? Because clearly you have to always go to the gym.
Maybe, but I wasn't there, so I don't know. Could be.
Our producer went to the same school as well, Johnny. So
yeah.
Pretty. So what school is this? We need to give like a big shout out.
Yeah. I only went there for sixth form. Do you want the name? JFS.
Yeah, go on.
JFS is the school.
Oh, JFS.
Yeah,
I know JFS.
Yeah.
Of course. Nice. Katie G, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. And thank you for kind of, I guess, to me, kind of the big takeaway that I have from you is that, onwards and upwards, right? Things happen. And what defines us is not what happens to us, but our reaction to it. And your reaction is truly brilliant. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Brilliant. No, fantastic.